All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Another Wednesday live stream. This week I wanted to spend a minute kind of upgrading, not upgrading, I already upgraded Laravel Shift. I wanted to do some refactors now that that upgrade has been kind of proven out, right? And first, the interesting thing is, as the creator of Shift, it's kind of funny that maybe I upgraded to Laravel 12, 6 months after release, right? And there's some reasons for that. The common reason is that at first, some of the packages that Shift uses weren't supported. They didn't support Laravel 12 yet. I think specifically like some of the Torchlight stuff or the underlying Markdown libraries just weren't supported right away. Kind of like me, Aaron Francis has other priorities than to make sure those are updated. And then two, to that point, as far as other priorities, like I don't want to upgrade to Laravel. While Laravel 12 was a non-breaking release, again, there's still package dependencies. There are actual changes. Shift heavily uses Laravel. It heavily uses PHP. There's a lot of feature sets that get used. So I can't risk bringing down the site at the biggest time of year for me, right? I don't want to be debugging some kind of deep queue issue that's not documented because no breaking changes, but something actually did break, and kind of chasing that down while I'm getting the most shifts run, again, seasonally, the most shifts are run at that time because everyone else is upgrading their app, right? So, a lot of my other apps I upgraded to 12, as you saw probably in the demos, but Shift, kind of again, ironically, I really wait till kind of the busy season is done, and of course, Common Tail, all the dependencies are supported. So the point is that this week, now that it has been upgraded to Laravel 12, I think there's some opportunities to refactor that I noticed when I was bouncing around the code. Now again, when I go and upgrade, I try to kind of, as best I can, try to do minimal changes, right? I don't want to upgrade to 12 and a bunch of refactors and switch to pest. And I don't want to do all of these things at a time. I like to kind of piecemeal them. And to me, that improves kind of clarity and focus because, if you do it all at once and something breaks, like what broke? Was it the PHP 8.4 upgrade that broke? Was it the Laravel 12 upgrade that broke? Was it this new package over here that broke? Or the refactors? Did I not actually refactor? Did I introduce a change, right? It's hard to kind of pinpoint what it is. If I know that I only update to Laravel 12 and something happens, I know that I at least have the context of, okay, this broke when I went to Laravel 12, and I can add that context to my searches or my chat GPT or, whatever, right? That context really helps. So, anyway, let's talk about kind of the main refactor I want to do. When I was in the code, kind of checking some things for Laravel 12 and fixing a few of the tests that were failing, I remembered this Laravel Editions package that we wrote on a previous stream, right? And this kind of just let's take a peek at this, just kind of a refresher. I'm calling this a whip, but basically, like, this has some traits that I've always wanted. And again, it's kind of for, like, Laravel power users, right? These things, the framework, obviously, very feature-rich. I'm not attempting to take away from that at all. But there are some things, there's some little tiny gaps, little tiny paper cuts. And I've tried to put these into the framework, but I think they're for a certain type of power user. So I've wrapped them up into a package, and basically all of these I would like to use now that I'm on Laravel 12. Now this actually supported Laravel 11 or higher, so I could have used this earlier on, but I was reminded of kind of my motivation for creating this package when I saw some of these, like, two route and status kind of helpers that are in here. So here's kind of the top four. I think there might be one more that I haven't documented, but there's one more here where basically you got the status helper for responses. So you can basically say, like, return status 204, return status not found. these dynamic find bys are actually probably the biggest refactor that can be done today. So I want to bring this in because I have a couple find by, like hard-coded find by methods on my model. I'd like to rip those out and drop this package in and just see if all my tests pass, right? There's this safe save. I've griped about this one for years. Again, attempted, otherwise, closed. So again, these things I've tried to put into the framework, but they're met with resistance, right? I think they're sharper knives, right? They're sharper knives, and as such, power users are fine with them. They're fine accepting that responsibility of wielding that much sharper knife, right? Whereas new users, they might shoot themselves in the foot with something like this without some careful reading. And again, same thing with fallback on policies. So I think honestly, almost every single one of these can get put into the Shift code base. We'll probably start with the find by because I think that's going to be the easiest refactor, and then we'll kind of look for opportunities of the others. So basically, what I want to do on this stream, I want to drop this package into Laravel Shift and refactor my code. Hopefully streamline the code to use the kind of power user features that are available from this package. So let's get after it. All right, so I've checked out the latest here, I think. Yep, I have. So let's do git checkout.sb, refactors, and let's get after it. So let's just follow along here and make sure it works the way we think, right? So let's pop this into place. And again, hopefully everything updates here. Okay, I don't feel like updating PHP on the iMac right now, so let's just say ignore platform rec equals PHP. Everything else should be fine. I think it just doesn't like PHP. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. I think this is 8.3, and like I said, I bumped everything to 8.4, so that's fine. Let's let it catch up here. While that's doing that and my iMac is going to take off, let's look for with. I know there's a I know there's a find by SKU, I think, for products. Yeah, there it is. So let's look for function. Let's see how many functions I have that are find by. Okay, here we go. Find by plan repository and find by SKU. So there's two. Find by plan repository actually might be, yeah. Okay, that is a, well, first of all, this will be a good test that there's no overriding of this method, right? Oops, sorry. So that'll be a good test. This is the one I was thinking of. We just have this nice little query selector here where it finds first. So this is effectively what I get for free in the new thing. So what I'm going to do is let's refactor this. And we'll just do these piecemeal. We'll push them up to GitHub. We'll let the CI run, and hopefully everything's passing. Is everything passing? No, everything's not passing. Why are you not passing? Oh, I think this is a pest thing. No. Failed asserting that. Oh, I know it. I know what this is. Hold on. Okay, we'll fix that too as part of our refactors. Okay. All right. Did everything install? Yes, it did. Okay, so git commit -m. Let's just say add package. Oops. Helps if you actually add everything. There we go. All right. Let's get up at the top here. All right. Let's jump. We'll come back and fix that in a second. Let's go ahead and drop this in because this is the smallest refactor because there's really no code change other than everything's a centralized code change. So here we'll say, what do we call that? The find by trait. Let's add this find by. Boom. And again, let's import it. I'm not going to wait on PHP Storm. It's very far behind. So let's do vendor bin pint. Let's make sure that's all cleaned up. Probably just should have done -- dirty, but that's okay. Let's just make sure everything's clean because again, it looks like we had some failures in CI anyway. So I'll push this up Well, I'll wait to push this up. Let's fix that other failure. I think I know what that is. What I think it is while we're waiting on Pint is, I remember fixing this in the production servers after deployment. Laravel 12 introduced an app private, storage app private. They introduced that. And in CI, I don't think I download that to the correct place. I don't think that got added to my folder. So let's check that real quick. Let me add this up though. So let's say use, what was that called? Find by trait. Cool. Okay, we won't push this up just yet. Let's go check my theory on this storage app stuff. Yeah, see, private got put in here, but I think if I go look at my test suite, I need like this latest tags. I need like this tags thing. I think something downloads this. Yeah. This needs to be private now. I think if I search for storage app Laravel-tags, anything? No? Let me go back. I thought we had something where I set up the environment. Method get Laravel tags JSON mockery should be called exactly one time. It's called 2 times. Okay, interesting. Did I change this and not fix it? Let's just go look at this test. All right, where is my Laravel tags? Okay. Yeah, so what this does is I have a command that runs on a schedule. It goes out to Laravel, it reads their tags, right? And then it sees, this basically checks to see if Laravel has made a tag. And if Laravel has made a tag, then it kicks off jobs to perform automations for subscribers. So that way, everybody stays up to the latest and la la la. So that's what this is doing. It seems as though I've got a couple errors around this now. And I think it's not actually the private thing. I think what I did was I added an additional call to something. Yeah, that's the problem. I cleaned this up to warm the cache after Laravel 12 is what happened. Yeah, I added this. So my tests are failing. I added that and I didn't fix the test. That's what's going on here. Last run effectively reads back out the cache storage, right? So we need to say that it expects this twice. Whoops, that'll fix that. And then automation should not have been called. That's fine. It should never call automation. Okay, so what is this? We got get. It gets that, and then it puts it back. Okay. It pulls tag from a link. It runs automation. Yeah, see, I think a lot of these. This is not assert false. This is going to be assert true. I think there's going to need to be some more cleanup that happens here. To make this behave the way I want it to, there's going to need to be some more cleanup. I think for now, I'm going to fix this with twice. What I really want to do though, let's just put a little to-do here so I don't forget. What I really want to do is I really want to mock Git again with new, yeah, with new stuff. And really there's, you know what, this can be a refactor actually later on. I should just mock the storage fake. There's really no reason I'm mocking the storage facade and swapping it. Again, I've talked about this before. The Laravel Shift code base is like 10 years old. The modern testing layer, even a minimal testing layer, did not exist when I wrote Shift. So I don't know when this check new releases, command was added, but like the storage fake probably did not exist. I mean, if I remember right, the storage fake probably didn't exist till like Laravel, 6 or 7 or 8 even. Again, in its modern ability to actually fake the file system and put fixtures into place and so forth. Not just a wrapper for this, like actually fake the file system in the storage folder. So really what should happen here is, and this can be part of today, let's go back and focus on the other stuff, but this could be part of today, like refactor to storage fake. That's really what should happen here, because then I don't have to do all this like twice stuff. I kind of just have to say like, here's the original file, you wrote it out to this file, and then I can check it, that way, right? Especially now that I'm warming the cache. So I think that's going to be the way to do it. So let's just whip that for now. So let's do a git whip on this. Oops, git add -u, git whip. We'll just whip that off for a second and we'll come back to it. What I want to see, let's go ahead and push this up. Git push origin head -u. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and bring up a new PR for this. Hopefully, we've already added our use find by trait. Hopefully the goal here would be that only those 3 tests, these original 3 we're kind of seeing over here, are failing. And again, we'll come back to those in a minute, but I want to stick on this other stuff. Let's go look at policies. I think I have some policies in here. Yep, I do. Let's see what we have. Yeah. Look at this. Return bool, and it's got no return. Strange. Handles authorization. What is this? Oh, does that give you the... I guess this gives you the allow and deny and all that stuff. So where's this used? Where's the order policy used? Order policy. Where are you used? Oh my goodness. Order policy. Nowhere. Are you auto-wired? You gotta be used somewhere. Where are you used? Ran with subscription. Okay, so can you view... Is this even used? It doesn't seem like it's used. I know there's some auto wiring on policies, but you would still have to say like this authorizes or something. You would have to wire it up a little bit. Do I do any gate stuff here? I definitely do some gate stuff. Full workbench access, update, what's this? Oh, gate authorize, update order. Okay, here we go. So I'm doing it in line. I'm doing it in line. Yeah. So I'm really just using update. It doesn't seem like I'm even using the other one. Is there view? Sorry. So view and update. I'm not even using the rest. I'm not even using view, to be honest. So here's kind of the point with policies, right? Like, look at all this. Look at all this skeletal scaffolding that's empty. It doesn't even have the right typing. It's just kind of auto-generated. And then the ones that I am filling out, you know, it's the same logic over and over and over and over and over again. So not only do you have this big skeleton class where you don't even need to define kind of these other things, but you're not even defining these other things, but you also have like repeated logic in most of your methods, right? Because if you can view and create and update and destroy and you do all these CRUD things, the logic for allowing you to do those CRUD things is probably the same. So again, I've talked about this when I was building this package, but like, let's go ahead and refactor this in its same logic, even if I'm not using view. Maybe it's somewhere on the front end or something, or in a resource file, I don't know. But I'll honor the code that's currently here, but streamline it with the new package. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm also hearing some chat. Let me jump in the chat. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Hey, Mateus, how's it going? Hey, Mateus, if you're still around, did that pest PR ever get merged, man? What's going on? Hey, Samuel, how's it going? Hey, Steven. Thanks for joining live, everyone. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to with fallback. Okay, so it's gonna, okay, so yeah, let's read this. Let's read this here. Let's put with fallback into place. Let's not create the class. Let's import the class. Am I crazy? I don't know why PHP Storm's giving me a hard time today, but we'll put that in there. Oh, did I call it with fallback? What did I call this? Yeah, with fallback. JMac Editions traits. Has this like not been tagged or something? Yeah. I bet you it hasn't been tagged. Ah, there it is. Okay. Let's make a tag. Let's make a tag, people. Cool. You know what? You know what? You know what I can do here? Release.new. Give me this. And main and v0.2.0. Generate me some notes. Boom. Where's all my stuff? Oh, wait. Include direct commits? Yeah, there they go. I must have directly committed them. See? GitHub would not have caught those things. I don't need the byline. Let's hide some simple changes. Document. Yeah, okay. So really it's just this if I hide simple changes. Love it. Love it. Copy. Let's go back here. Let's get rid of this other stuff. All right. Let's go back. I thought there was a button to make. Thought there was a button that made you a new release. Maybe we never released that. Let's draft a new release. Let's go to v0.3.0. Publish it. 0.3.0. Paste. Cool. I'm cool with this. All right. Oh, that actually was. That actually wasn't a direct commit. That's interesting. Anyway, whatever. We'll publish this. Okay, so now if we go to composer update. It's gonna fail. Hold on. Ignore platform rec. I think you can put in your composer JSON file like an override, so I don't have to keep typing that, but we should be done here in a second. Okay, let's go back down to with. Let's go back down to this with fallback for policies. This introduces a with fallback trait, which you may use policies, the repeated logic. Yeah. Okay, so when with fallback, you may add a fallback method. This method will be called when the policy is found. The fallback will receive the following arguments. Okay, cool. So once we have this, oh my goodness. Once we have this, we should be able to say public, or do we have an example? Let's just copy it. Let's copy this. So what I'll do is I will say the default will be to return null, because that allows it to pass on to the other things. What we'll do is say if ability, so we can say if ability, if I can fucking type, holy cow, people, what is going on here? All right, let's cut that, paste that, and basically we'll say if it's view or update, boom, see you later. Look at that policy class. It's wonderful. I really don't even need to do this, in fairness. But you know, Again, I want to make this one-to-one. Given that the other things never did anything anyway, I don't think it would hurt to just straight return all of that, but, you know, whatever. So we'll say this is order now, and order. So I copied from the README, which used post, the classic blog example, but this is really what we care about here. Okay, so if the ability that you were asking about is view or update, then do what we were doing before. Otherwise, return null, which is effectively what we were doing before, even though we weren't actually writing, you know, explicitly return null, and our type hints didn't match, and la la la. So clearly we were never using those other methods because PHP would have thrown an error if so, because the return type would not have matched. Or, you know, it may have done some type juggling for us underneath the covers, but I think static analysis definitely would have choked on that. So again, not only more streamlined code, but again, more accurate code for what we're actually doing with this policy. So I think if this finishes with fallback, should catch up. Oh, you know what? Because it's a .0 release, I don't think, where's JMac? There it is. Yeah. Because it's a .0 release, it won't actually pick up 3.0. That's one of those nuances of where the caret behaves in a different way. Yeah, if we go look, yeah, there's no Jason McCreary stuff in the upgrading list, but if we jump this time, I think we'll see it. It's a little nuance of the caret in for 0 releases. Yeah, there it is. Okay, that should fix that. The final one I think I want to look at is the status helper. Is there anywhere in the code that I could do a status helper? So we'll kind of search for like return whatever. Let me push this up though so we can let GitHub Actions run in the background. All right, let's see here. So let's do git add -u, same stuff. Let's do vendor bin pint --dirty, make sure it's all cleaned up, looks good. Git add dot git commit -m or let's see, what is that called? Use with fallback trait. All right, let's push that up. We'll see what happens here in a second. Mateus, also, I think we should limit the type method to only look for inputs similar to what you did for the press button. Yes. Yes. You know, I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. I was very excited for the pest browser testing stuff because I battled Dusk a lot. I'm a little, again, it was just released. It was just released like a week ago, right? And there's a lot of PRs to the point we're making. There's a lot of PRs out there that are addressing some of these things. But I'm very surprised of two things. One, I'm very surprised that the implementation feels a little loose, right? It feels really loose given the fact that Dusk outlined the way these same named methods already worked. So to match that API should have been a very straightforward process. I understand maybe in the speed of getting this out there that it was easy to just make everything a selector. But there are a lot of it just feels like there are a lot of like rough edges to it. And then the second thing is, again, all these PRs are out there, and I appreciate that this is like an extra thing that Nuno has built, but Pest is like pretty big now. It's not a little pet project anymore. So I'm kind of surprised that so many of these PRs have set, especially after a big, major version tag they've set for, over a week now. Especially these ones around selectors and then that feature parity with Dusk. Like new features and all that stuff I totally understand, but I'm very surprised that the selector thing has not been merged. That to me is like a blocker from moving from Dusk. And it's just not the way it should work. Anyway, again, understand Nuno's a busy guy. Understand all package authors are busy. They're doing it, pro bono. It's not like necessarily what they get paid for per se. But anyway, and if Nuno's not really the one in charge of Pest or the not one actively maintaining Pest like on a day-to-day basis anymore, then whoever is kind of needs to be brought to the forefront. So maybe there can be communication with them, because when I think of Pest, I think of Nuno. If someone else is kind of team lead on that now, or head maintainer, like they should be the one talking about Pest. Anyway, okay, let's go check GitHub Actions and see. Let's see where we are. We're definitely failing, but we were always failing. So, are we failing for the same three things, or are we failing for like a lot of stuff now? Oh yeah, we're failing for a lot of stuff now. So let's go figure out why. Call to undefined method find by SKU. Okay, that should not be the case. The whole point of this find by SKU is that, ooh, I already know what it is. I already know what it is. No, it's call static. It's call static. That should not be a problem. Okay, let's do some debugging. Dump here. All right, PHP artisan tinker. Product find by SKU 11. There it is. What's the problem? What's the problem? Call to undefined method, product find by SKU. Is this like, yeah, they're all, okay, so a majority of these errors are all that. What, did this pull from cache maybe? Cache hit. Okay. I would think that should not have had a cache hit. It shouldn't have had a cache hit because we updated Composer. It should have pulled down the latest Composer stuffs. Where is Laravel Editions? Oh, no, it's got it. V030. What's the dilly, yo? Works locally. There it is, right there. Find by. Picked it up. Find by SKU 11. What's your problem? Okay, this one we knew. That one we knew. Yeah, find by SKU. Yeah, okay. What would be the problem here? model forward call to product 133. Okay, model call. Okay, it's doing model call. Order controller 60. Maybe there's some weird way I wrote this code where it's going the other way around. So 33. No. Oh, 76. Sorry. 76. The other one's 33. 76. Order product next shift. Okay. Self find by SKU. Oh. Okay, okay. Order product. That should be a product. That should be a product. We call next shift on it. This is a class instance. It's a class, even though we're calling self, it should call it statically. Product 133. Okay, here we are, 133. What I'm noticing though is that it's doing a forward call to. It's doing a forward call to. And see how 133 is calling model call? It's not calling static call. That's interesting to me. That's why we're not getting picked up. That's why it's not getting picked up. I wonder if that self needs to be static instead of, I mean, self should work. It's interesting that within the context of call, like, why would it be calling call? It's self. It says self. This is like one of those, this might not be Laravel. This might actually be like a nuance of PHP self versus static, like late static binding for the class. I'm gonna try it. We're gonna try this. Let's do static. Well, first of all, let's do this. Let's see if we can reproduce this. We should be able to say next shift. Yeah, let's do this in Tinker and see what happens. Let's see if we can get the same result in Tinker. So let's do this. Let's do product find by SKU. We may stop here since these are not working. So okay, so we're getting there. So now when we say product next shift, we don't pass it anything. This should see that we're getting, this should give you the Laravel 12. This should give you 12, I would think. There we go. Call to undefined method. I think, let's change this to static. Let's reload the code base. No, it still doesn't like it. Call to undefined method. Do you have to say like product? There should be no difference from a PHP perspective. Something interesting, something nuanced is happening here. Yeah. So let's get down into the bowels and see what's going on here. It's claiming that it does forwards calls. It's claiming that it's getting here. It shouldn't be getting here. How does this work? Product has to find by, which tacks on call static. I don't think, okay, this does have a call static. what do we do here? So theoretically, we're overriding. Our call static should override the model call static. That's what should happen here. I would think. Okay, is that true? Yeah. Let's say dump. See, this is good because this is a real world use case of this. Neither are getting called. That doesn't make any sense to me. Neither are getting called. That? We're getting down here, right? Dump next. We should see 12. I need like I think my Mac OS is so outdated that I can't run Tinkerwell. So we're just gonna keep playing the old school dance here. Okay. So 12, yeah, good. Okay, so it's calling on 133, so it's calling on. This breaks. This breaks. And if we look at a fuller stack trace, I think if we look at a fuller stack, oh god, that's terrible. We should, no, we're not even getting a Laravel log. We should get a fuller stack trace, but it doesn't look like we are. So we know though, throw bad, okay, so before that, I'm trying to find the fuller stack trace. It's interesting that it has it on some and not others. Okay, so product 133 calls, why is it calling call? Why would it be calling call? That doesn't make any sense. It's a static. Why the hell is it calling this? Internal instance. Internal static. All right. Let's recycle these one more time. That's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind. Why would it be calling call? Why would it be calling call? What in the world? Let's figure this out. This is deep. I'm gonna give this like 5 more minutes. Like part of me, part of me feels like something, we're getting here, right? We're getting here, that's, and then it calls next shift. It should know that it's a product. All right, so we're gonna do this just so we can kind of see the difference. So we'll say next shift. Yeah, fine. All right, let's do this again. La la, la la. Okay, next shift, we get an internal instance. That's probably because something inside of here actually runs, gives you another instance, and then we get down here for 12, and then it's calling this, which gives you an internal instance. So if we go back And we'll say, let's just do this to kind of help us out. So let's do method. All right. And then let's go back up to that other one. We'll do method. This will help us see which ones it's actually calling. Okay, hydrate, fine. And then we call find by SKU. I'm blown away that find by SKU is getting called on an instance. That makes no sense. It makes no sense that this line of code is calling models call. That makes no sense. Something's, this is one of those moments that's like challenging my understanding, my 25-year understanding of PHP. Why would that line of code, a static call to a method, I appreciate that it doesn't exist, but why would that call the instance method call and not call static? Because it's like, if I put it up here, top level, it gets there and then it hydrates. Fine. But it gets here. We're not getting here on the trait first. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think on that. It's weird, but the only thing that's kind of coming to mind is the fact that an instance method is calling out to a static method, and it's doing so in a magic way. What's the worker running? Is this like a... Because I'm running an older version of PHP. I'm wondering, but the workers should be running 8.4. Yeah, they're running 8.4. So they're working the way PHP does currently. So this isn't like some weird nuance. I'm on some weird patch version that has like a bug. This is how it's actually working. I'm gonna have to dig into that one. Something about this is blowing my mind. I'm gonna have lunch and come back to this. It doesn't make any sense. If somebody knows why this makes sense, there's some nuance I've gotten into of either PHP or Laravel of why this line of code is not triggering the call static magic method, when if I put it outside of this method, it does. The only quick little like random thing here would be like if I did something like public static forward, and then let's say return, public static function forward return product find by SKU. Can this like not call itself? Maybe it can't call internally. Maybe that's part of the issue. Maybe that's what the issue is. Let's see if this works. If this doesn't work, then maybe that's what the issue is. Its internal thing can't call. It doesn't trigger the magic call stack. Now we might be onto something. Let's do this. Product forward. No, it can do it. Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, that's kind of like the only thing I could think is that for some reason an instance method. Let's try it on an instance method. So let's say product equals new app models product. All right, and then we'll say product forward. Yeah. That's the issue. there's some PHP restriction that an instance method can't trigger the magic call static method internal to the class. That's what's happening here. So I need to figure out a workaround for that. That's kind of blowing my mind. I would not have expected that. I would have just expected this to just work. I don't understand why it doesn't. So I'm gonna ask the internets why it doesn't work. If anyone knows why it doesn't work, let me know. Save me the trouble. But that's what's happening. This can't forward on to that internally. That's very interesting. It doesn't seem like self-static or even an instance call can get around that. So that's interesting. That's an interesting nuance of PHP that I did not know. I'm gonna figure that out. All right, anybody. Thanks everyone for joining live. See you next Wednesday.